Do you know what it's like to have good sleep? I mean, what does it mean when you say you had a good night of sleep last night? I always used to hear that, where people said, I slept great last night, and other people would say, I didn't sleep too well. You know, for the longest time, I always thought if I slept for 12 hours, I slept great. Anything less than that, then I didn't sleep great. But then I started learning more about sleep. And this really started when I was in dental school, and it really kicked off more after I graduated and I started taking more courses, and I started learning a lot more about sleep and what it actually means and how you can actually have good sleep. There are a lot of factors that go into sleep, and there's a lot of factors that go into having good sleep. So a lot of times the first thing I recommend for someone is to just get a sleep study, especially if they think that they're not getting good sleep. But the reality is, especially in the United States, we have an epidemic right now. And the epidemic is that people are just not sleeping well, whether it be sleep apnea or people are just not breathing well. There are a ton of sleeping issues, and a lot of them are not being diagnosed. So the good news is we do have some resources, and we also have some signs that can tell if you're sleeping well or not. And I actually have some interesting ones that might surprise you. So I'm gonna give you 8 surprising signs that you are not sleeping well. The first sign that you're not sleeping well is you did not like this video. I mean, how can you sleep at night knowing you did not like my videos? Just kidding. But for real, number 1 is you're grinding your teeth at night. Now, you know when you go to the dentist and they always check your teeth and they always give you the same spiel, and then eventually they tell you that you're grinding your teeth, or you have signs that you're grinding or clenching your teeth. And a lot of times people just ignore this. Like, oh, my dentist always tells me that. Like, I never catch myself grinding my teeth, so there's no way I actually grind my teeth. But a lot of times we don't realize we're grinding our teeth, because first of all, we're sleeping, so how can we even tell? And also, we don't really pay attention to our teeth, and we don't really look for the signs like a dentist or a hygienist would do. Now, just because you're grinding your teeth, it doesn't mean you're not sleeping well. There's a lot of reasons that you can be grinding your teeth as well. Like, for example, a big reason could be stress. If you just started a new job or if you just started a new program in school, that can really stress you out, and that can make you grind your teeth. And actually, it gets more specific. There's actually a link between grinding your teeth and transitioning from your non-REM to your REM sleep. So if you don't know too much about your sleep cycles, you basically have 4 stages. The first 3 stages are called non-REM, and the 4th stage is called REM sleep. Now, REM, or REM, stands for rapid eye movement, and that's really your deep, deep sleep. And that's where all your dreaming will occur. Now, some people who grind their teeth, especially when they're transitioning between these 2 sleep stages, they will not get their REM sleep, meaning they will not get this deep sleep. And your REM sleep, guys, is really important. And not to say that your other sleep stages aren't important either, they're all actually important. But your REM sleep is really important for memories. And this actually brings us to number 2, which is you are forgetting things. If you're ever feeling like you're just forgetting things, or you just can't remember the names for certain things, or you just feel like you have amnesia, that could be a sign that you're not sleeping well. Now, I do want you to factor your age into this one as well, because the older you get, the more you are at risk of getting amnesia. But there could be a serious sleep issue here. Like I said before, if you're not getting that REM sleep or that deep sleep and getting that full sleep cycle, then your body's not recovering as well as it could, and you're not getting that deep sleep, which is really important for memories. And that lack of deep sleep could be preventing you from forming new memories, which is why you're forgetting everything. Number 3 is if you are a mouth breather. Now, I can pretty much guarantee you, if you are a mouth breather and you don't breathe through your nose, you are gonna sleep awful. The fact is, human beings were meant to breathe through their nose, not through their mouth. And really, there is nothing new on this. There are years and years of research on this. And even back in the early 1900s, there were advertisements for devices to stop you from breathing through your mouth. So even back then, they knew that breathing through your mouth was bad. Now, what exactly is the problem with mouth breathing? Well, I actually made a few videos on this topic, and I'm putting the link to those videos in the description below. But really, when you breathe through your mouth, you're not getting as much oxygen as you would through your nose. When you breathe through your mouth, you inhale air really, really quickly, but you also exhale air really, really quickly. And the problem is, it doesn't give that oxygen enough time to get absorbed. So once it gets to your lungs, it's quickly just getting expelled and getting out of your lungs. Whereas when you breathe through your nose, it's coming in really slowly, but it's also coming out really slowly. And that allows this oxygen to get absorbed and to go to all the right places. And this lack of oxygen when you breathe through your nose is really a big deal, because yes, you get enough oxygen to survive, it's not gonna kill you, but that's not really what you should be aiming for. But if your goal is to get good sleep, then breathing through your mouth is just not going to cut it. But not only that, when you breathe through your nose, it actually relaxes your whole body. And the reason is when you breathe through your mouth, you're really only using the top half of your lungs. So not only are you not getting that much oxygen, you're also not using your lungs' full capacity. So you're not getting as much air as you could. And when you only use this upper half of your lungs, that stimulates a more sympathetic response in your body. And if you remember from biology or psychology class, your sympathetic response is your body's fight or flight response. Now, you don't want to have this all day. You want to have a more parasympathetic response, which is your body's rest and relax mode. And when you breathe through your nose, you're more likely to use your lungs' full capacity. And when you use that stimulates your body's parasympathetic response, and that stimulates your body to be more relaxed. Now, what does this do? So if you're a mouth breather and you're getting this fight or flight response in your body, that really stresses you out, because you're getting all these hormones that come that tells your body to be active when you really should be relaxing. And that can make you a lot more anxious. It can make you a lot more stressed. Now, if you're trying to go to sleep, you're going to be up all night because you're really stressed out about something. And also throughout the day, you're probably going to be stressed out as well. And just think about it. I mean, if you go out throughout your day and you always feel anxious and you always feel like you're just stressed out about something and you just can't sit down and relax, that could be a sign that you're a mouth breather. Now think about someone who's calm and collected, kind of like someone who does a lot of yoga or a lot of meditation. You don't really see them huffing and puffing through their mouth, right? You see them calmly breathing through their nose. And this is exactly how you should be breathing like 99% of the time. Now, another issue with mouth breathing is you're more likely to snore. Now, the reason is when you're sleeping and you're laying back and your mouth is open, your tongue is resting in the back of your mouth, and it's also going to the back of your throat. Now, normally your tongue is resting against the roof of your mouth and your tongue is covering your soft palate. And that's really when you're breathing through your nose. Now, when you're a mouth breather, your tongue is more resting back, like I said, in the back of your throat. And this can block some of your airway. So now when you're breathing through your mouth, that airway gets obstructed because there's not enough room for air to come in. So now what happens is since that tongue is no longer covering that soft palate will start to vibrate. And that's what makes that snoring sound. So that's a really bad sign. That means that you're not sleeping well. We're meant to breathe through our nose, and we're not supposed to make any sound when we breathe. So if we're snoring, that's a really bad sign. Now, a lot of us don't even realize that we're mouth breathers, and a lot of us don't even realize that that could be the reason that we're snoring. So now you know, if you're all hanging out with your friends, and some of you guys decide to get an Airbnb, and some of you guys have to share rooms with someone else, and there's always that one person that no one can stand spending a night with because you know that they are the most annoying sleeper. Like, why can't you just sleep silently so I can sleep peacefully? Now you can educate them a little bit. The fifth sign that you're not sleeping well is you're waking up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. You ever have those nights where you just can't stay asleep? So I know a lot of people that do this, and I used to do this a lot as well, where almost every single night you'd have to wake up and go to the bathroom, and then you can go back to sleep. It doesn't really seem like a big deal, right? Because you're just waking up once in the middle of the night, going to the bathroom, maybe you drank too much water before you went to sleep. But really, there's a couple issues here. You really should not be waking up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. An ideal sleep would be to stay asleep constantly until it's time to wake up and not really get interrupted in the middle. Now, I know a lot of times that is really hard to do because a lot of times people have other responsibilities like a baby to take care of or something else going on where it kind of wakes them up in the middle of the night. But if you have no other distractions and you're waking up just to go to the bathroom, that is not a good sign. And actually, if you're waking up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, that's a sign that you're a mouth breather. Because one reason this could be happening is when you're breathing through your mouth, like I said before, your tongue is going back in the back of your mouth and in the back of your throat. And what's happening is it's blocking that airway. So when the air is coming in through that mouth, it now has a smaller opening so less air can get into your lungs. And if this tongue goes back too far, now your airway is completely blocked. And this is also called sleep apnea because now your breathing is completely blocked, you're not getting any oxygen. So now what happens is your body basically thinks that you're dead because no more air is coming in. And your body will respond a couple of different ways depending on whether you're a kid or an adult. If you're a kid and this happens, that's when you're more likely to wet the bed. So if you have a kid or you know a kid that's always wetting the bed, this could be a reason why that they're not sleeping well. Now, when you're an adult, it's that same body response, but instead of wetting the bed, now you're gonna have to wake up and go to the bathroom. Luckily, as you get older, you're less likely to wet the bed from bad sleep. But really, you should be thanking your body for doing this because since you weren't breathing, your body basically basically woke you up and forced you to breathe and keep you alive. The sixth sign that you're not sleeping well is you just can't focus. Now this one's actually really interesting because there's a lot of similarities between the symptoms of having ADHD and the symptoms of just being sleepy. And some doctors think that ADHD is actually a fake disease. And the reasoning is that the pharmaceutical industry and some psychiatrists were basically working together to make a lot of money. And the way they would do this would be to make up this fake disease and just to prescribe people a bunch of pills and make a ton of money from that. But if you really look at the symptoms of ADHD, and a lot of them are things like you can't sit still, you can't concentrate, you can't focus, you're really interrupting people. These are all signs that you're sleepy as well. And this is how your body reacts just to keep yourself awake. Now, I'm not saying anything, I'm just giving you guys some information, but if you're having signs of ADD or you think you have ADHD or something and you're going to get tested, I would probably check to see if you're sleeping well first. The seventh sign that you're not sleeping well is you're always sick. Now, having good sleep is really important for our immune system. And if we don't have a good immune system, that alone will make us way more likely to get sick. But also this could be a twofold problem. So let's say you're not sleeping well and you're always getting sick. And what can happen is the tonsils, which are in the back of your mouth, can get super inflamed and can get bigger. And when this happens, it can block the airway. So it can block air from getting into your lungs. And now you're gonna be sleeping even worse. And that could be, again, making you even more sick. So you can kind of see that it's really a never-ending cycle. Like, when's the last time you think you had a good night of sleep when you were sick? So a lot of times we don't really know. Like, was it the fact that you were sick that caused the bad sleep? Or was it the bad sleep that caused you to get sick? The eighth sign you're not sleeping well is you're sleeping through your alarm clock. We've all been there where we're just so tired, our alarm goes off and we don't even hear it. So this actually happened to me when I was an undergrad. My friend and I were studying for our organic chemistry exam. It was actually our first exam and we were up way too late studying. And we probably only slept like an hour to an hour and a half. And we were actually roommates at the time and both of our alarms were going off, but neither of us heard them. And luckily, my friend managed to wake up and look at his phone like 5 minutes before our exam. And we lived like a 10-minute walk away from the building. And it took him a couple minutes to process what time it was. And when he did, he had to wake me up really quickly and tell me what time it was. And then it took me a couple minutes to process what was going on because we were both so tired. And then we were bolting out of there to go to the exam. Luckily, we made it on time and we both did well in the exam, but that's just an example of what can happen when you're really sleepy. And the reason is when you're not sleeping well, your threshold to wake up is higher. So what does that mean? That basically means it's a lot harder to wake you up. So obviously in my circumstance in undergrad, there's no way I was sleeping well if I was staying up till like 6, 7 in the morning to study. So instead your brain is like, no, I'm not gonna wake up from that alarm. You need to sleep. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you liked that video. And if you haven't already, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel below. And I'll see you in the next video.